Okay, today I'm really excited because what we have is start of the new section that we tilled last week of the vegetable garden. In each row, we're going to go into great detail on how we prep each row from start to finish. Okay, over here we have a row that I've started to turn in. There's no really any reason to go into too much detail, but this soil is so fluffy that all you have to do is put a pitchfork in it and you can see how dark and beautiful the soil is. Just trying to take the soil and mound it up, and it comes up real nice. It hasn't had a chance to really compact. What I've done is I've taken the soil, mounded it up, and with the pitchfork basically kind of just massaging it and trying to level the top out, just moving the soil around, trying to create a nice flat top surface for the plants. And so what I normally do on my tomatoes is I'll run a line across to support the stakes that the tomatoes sit on. And this time I did it just a little bit different. I started with my wire and my pressure treated lumber that I use for the top brace. And so what I did was I put this coated wire and a little clamp on it and pre-strung them so I know exactly where to put my post holes. So I'll place this one down in the center of that bed here, and I'll go over here and do the same on this side. That way I'll know where to put my post holes. Both of them have the clamps already pre-installed, and so now I know exactly where to put the post. So we'll do that now. Okay, just move this out of the way a little bit. Get nice and centered. And this is my mark where my depth is going to be, so that they're both roughly the same depth. That's what we're going to use. You can see where we've passed the nice topsoil, layer of topsoil. Now we're into some really sandy material that definitely wouldn't be any good for gardening. I wouldn't think there'd be too many nutrients involved there. But this area here, years ago, I brought in some fill. Now here you can see my mark. It's just about at grade. So that'd be where I'd want it, and both these fence posts should be roughly the same height. Okay, so here we are. We have our tomatoes that we started a while back ago, and what I want to do is make note of the fact that they're a little bit lanky and a little bit too big for the containers, but with a little extra Osmocote that we placed in the soil right on the top surface, they're still super healthy and vigorously growing. Just want to get a close-up shot of the root system here. That root system is not too bad. I mean, you can definitely see that it needs to go in the ground, but it's not past the point of really being considered root bound. So once I get the top of this leveled out like I like it, I'll start setting the plants in the row. So we'll do that now. Okay, what I have here is just a bucket with some 8-2-12 fertilizer, and what I do is I just take it and dress the top like this, pretty heavy. I mean, I'll get a close-up shot of this so you can see what we're doing. In the past, I used to mix this in with the soil And I got to thinking about it and how if this was a little bit too deep, by the time the plant's roots got to the fertilizer, a lot of the fertilizer's nutrients would have been dissipated, because every time it rains, it leaches through. The fertilizer loses potency as it rains. So I said, well, why don't we just top dress it this year and see what happens? And so far, the other sections of the garden are doing really well with this technique. Okay, so let's get a close-up shot of that. I bought this little tool here at Home Depot, and I thought it'd be great to weed in between the beds. It doesn't do well for that, but what it does do really well is mix in this fertilizer into the soil. So I use it for that. This is Brandywine red potato leaf. And November the 7th is when these things were put in the tray, in the soil from seed. We started these. So what I do here is just set them out, and I found that, you know, you can put them pretty tight because we don't let them bush out. These are indeterminate tomatoes. They'll keep growing to an indeterminate height. There's a few different varieties, but these are definitely nice ones. And what I like to try to do is the smaller ones, I put these on the end, and the bigger ones on the end where they face more sun. And then the bigger ones we'll put toward the middle. You know, you can, if you have some laggers, some smaller ones, give them a little extra fertilizer, and they'll actually end up passing the other ones. So here's the other tray. We got I'd say these things are spaced about maybe 12 to 14 inches apart. And it's plenty good. So what I do is I run that wire on the top, and if you look down the line, you can see that they're pretty much centered right over the wire. We'll grab it, and we got a whole another tray of these. So if I look down the line, they're fairly well centered. So that's how we place those guys out. Let's just see how long this takes. We'll do a time-lapse deal here, but we'll time it and see how long it takes to put 23 plants in the ground. And what I do is I buy these rolls of Velcro, and I cut them into little strips like this. And also I have here some of this wire in the garden center. Let me get a close-up shot here. This is the Velcro here that I use to wrap around the tomato plants, the stems. And I just wrap them around like that. And that holds them in place, and then you can take them down and use them year after year. These are, obviously you can see how those have been used, but they're still viable. I don't know how many seasons you can get out of them, but I would imagine more than a few. They don't need a whole lot, they just need a little bit to keep the plant from falling over under its own weight. And then also what I use is this wire here. Cut little pieces, just little pieces like this big, I don't know if you can see that, and then just wrap these pieces around this wire right here, just like this. I'll get a close-up shot of that, and that keeps that tight. And once this whole thing is tied together, all these have their twisties. It sets up a nice unit, so they're all kind of supporting each other, and that really works well. And you want to definitely stay on top of on the Velcro situation. What we do here with the Velcro, let's see if I can see here, is just take this Velcro and just wrap it around lightly. Give it plenty of time. You want to leave enough for your finger to go through with ease, like this. That way, because that plant will expand, so you don't want it tight, because you want to leave room for the plant to expand, because more than likely the tomato plant's base will be as big as your finger or your thumb before it actually quits expanding its girth of the plant. But this will keep that right there will keep enough room for it to expand, and if you get some heavy winds and rain, it won't blow that plant over. It's very important.